What is up, guys? Lord Nick here, bringing you another One Piece related video. This video, guys, list update a little bit and some gameplay. So today I've gotten to test the matchup against Lucci and Reiju. Lucci I spent about 2 hours testing, and Reiju I spent maybe about 30 to 40 minutes. Matches went kind of fast against the Reiju, but I got about 3 matchups into. Reiju was 2-1 against Lucci. I was 0-6. Um, I struggle with this matchup because I feel like at this point that it is a matchup that there's not much we can really do to ultimately prep for it that doesn't then sack some of our other matchups. So if I were going to a regional, and my read on the regional was going to be that it's going to be nothing but Lucci and Black Yellow Luffy's, I gotta bank on which one I think I'm gonna see more and kind of prep for those and kind of sack the other one a little bit. Black Yellow Lucci I think is the Luffy is the easier one to sack a bit because if we maintain having Aramakis in the list, it gives us a better opportunity. But I did start testing Ice Ages over Tempest Kicks over any of the other options, and while yes, finding them isn't nearly as consistent, I really found that I only needed maybe one to push us over the edge. So that on that 8 Dawn turn, instead of playing an Aramaki down, we kind of just take out a Jack and whatever character they have on board. Because Ice Age plus Gravity Blade does that. Which is pretty solid, actually. It's a really good option for us. And just pray to God we have something else on board and we're forcing some removal out from them. The problem I found, though, is even with that option, even in that testing aspect and the ability to remove the Jack and something else, we still end up falling behind very heavily in hand to board state because the Lucci just pressures us with his character, with his leader swing, and his leader swing always provides him constant removal. So despite stage being on, the addition of Jack has made this matchup damn near unwinnable for us. Even when I did one card testings of like using a ton of red rocks. The problem still remains that there's 4 red rocks and I cannot search for them. And even if I build the deck more around like with Kaya's and draw power and stuff like that, it still was not seemingly consistent enough to actually answer. And even with that, I now have 4 cards dedicated just to deal with one character on their board, and I don't have the versatility at that point to deal with other stuff. And because they're not technically a go tall deck, they're a go wide deck that has a very tall option. It's kind of very difficult to tech for them as a removal based deck. I tried the combo aspect as well. I tried to go back to a more combo Luffy style where I use Luffy and Cavendish and stuff to just control board state through body swings, using Hound Blazes and Kong Guns to buff them to do that. Did not work out. I did have a turn where the Luffy lived, but then I couldn't find the Kong Gun or a Hound Blaze to activate onto my Luffy to have enough Dawn to go ahead and kill the Jack. Because of the fact that he had 2 blockers, and I couldn't stack enough Dawn on my Luffy to actually be able to kill the Jack still. He saw all 4 of his Rebekahs, he saw 3 Geckos, and it was just game at that point. And 2 6 Cosbrooks, by the way. So, like, no matter what I was developing, he ended up with an answer for it. And that's the thing about Lucci is that, like, trying to match him as an answer deck that's not Lucci v. Lucci is just impossibly difficult, no matter which way I've tried to tech for it. So I've kind of given up on that matchup a little bit. And so you might be wondering, why do I still have the Ice Ages? If this plus Gravity Blade gives us a better matchup into Lucci. And it does. It makes the matchup playable-ish. I wouldn't necessarily say it's winnable, but it is closer to winnable than some of my previous matchups. But what it also offers is a great option for helping us deal with stuff like Reiju. So one of the biggest things that I've struggled with into Reiju, and some of the other people might attest to the same thing, is a early enough drop of any character really, but specifically Ichiji, becomes problematic to deal with because he is a 7-cost character. Reducing him by 4 doesn't really do much. It drops him to 3, so unless I'm running Who's Who's, I don't really have an option for KOing him, and even then, that's a card out of hand just to develop a Who's Who to do that, and a loss of a 2K. So instead, I've opted into Ice Ages, which reduces him down to a 2 cost, which you might still be like, that doesn't seem like to be enough, but on a 6 Dawn turn, which is generally the turn that we will have after they do their Ichiji, because if they do, for instance, if they do. They're probably not going to do it on a 3-Don. So if they're on the first draw, then they're going to do it on their 5-Don turn, which means that they're going to then drop out that EGG either with a Porsche or the EGG baby on its own, in which we can then use a Orlumbus Ice Age Leo to deal with it. It's not a perfect answer because it does require us to have one of those on board already. Or the other option is if we can develop a Orlumbus the turn before and he doesn't have the Niji to bounce it, then the option is that the Orlumbus is already there. We can drop a Leo early or a Rebecca, and then we can use a Leo Ice Age or a Kuzan or a Kyros Ice Age to handle it. And that's kind of how we handle that. Also, having the Cavendish in helps us with some of their characters. It can give us, with the Ice Age, if they don't have the early EGG, is actually even easier to deal with, because if they swung with a character the turn before, we swing the Cavendish into their rested character after we've Ice Aged the other one, uses Activatable to kill the other one, and now it's a 6k swing into their rested character on 6-Dawn. That's pretty valuable, pretty useful. So let's try to get a Reiju matchup so we can kind of showcase this. I am very tired, and I've noticed that in my last handful of games, I've been misplaying very heavily. And look, Reiju right on top. Probably not going to... Oh, we got him. Okay, cool. Let's hope we can keep this one around, and I can hopefully showcase some of the tech options here. Ultimately, but I will apologize if my gameplay is bad. I am very tired. We are going to keep this just because we already have an Aramaki opener and a 2K and a Searcher in hand, which is very much what we want to see in this matchup outside of a stage, but we have a good way of finding it. Ooh, we lose a Kuzan. That's not the end of the world, though. We'll take a 2K. We lost a Rebecca. Not the end of the world. 2 2Ks is pretty good. Start. We have a Cavendish and a Kyros, so we have options. We just need to find us an Orlumbus, and we'll be good to go. All right, early Reiju. Oh, also, Ice Age plus Kyros can answer any of their characters. We will 2K this just because it puts us down to enough cards that if we play anything this turn, we can... Perfectly there. Hey, looky there. Reduce how much KO or how much pressure they have in our life. Keep us at 5 a little bit earlier. He does have a lot of cards in hand. It's going to be annoying. But means if he wants to replace a Reiju right now, Reiju is the worst option for him. He can Ichiji, which is fine for us to a degree. He'll get 1 draw off of leader ability, but... Why is he revealing and drawing a judge? Oh, because he's using the event. I was like, what the hell? What happened here? He doesn't have stage, so it's a good start for us. That means we have a chance. This is kind of a little bit of a low roll for him, which, I mean, I guess this isn't really a low roll. It's kind of a normal roll for them. Hey, looky there. All right, so we're on 6-Dawn. We still don't have a cost reducer in trash or in hand. We're on 7 cards in hand. God, there's nothing to get back with a Rebecca play here. We can just deploy him. We then have 6. Activate. We do lose it. Man, Gravity Blade would be really nice right now. Because it's just a free attack, we're going to do it. Even if it gets him a card, that's fine. He has so many cards in hand as it. That doesn't really matter to us. Like, that's cool. It gets us closer when we get to our late game win cons to be able to actually do something. We now also have an Orlumbus. We have Kyros. He could bounce the Kyros, I guess, but then we still have a Rebecca to set up. So, like, we're actually okay right now, spot-wise. We don't have a stage, kind of stinks. I think this next turn's probably going to be just a straight-up Aramaki because he's just a really good blocker for us. And we haven't taken enough early damage to where we're too afraid of the setup he can do. We just really kind of want to develop bodies to threaten. I'm trying to debate here if we're going to... Oh, okay. He's just hard casting that to KO that. That's fine by me. Okay. How are you doing this? Just 1 into life. Okay. You obviously don't know what he does. That's fine by me. What is his hand? Okay. I guess he bricked, but, you know, that's fine by us. Upside. The thing that you can kind of count on a little bit that they might do to you is not remember that your Rebecca is a... or that your Kyros can't be KO'd by a swing. Man, we can or Lumbus this. It just doesn't feel good. Is there a way we can get anything back with this? Oh, wait. Okay, so we attack 5. I'm big brain in here. Okay. Or Lumbus. Reduce. KO. Let him die. Deploy. Grab. Deploy. KO. Swing 6. Use action just to mill 2. No target. Just because we want this up enough. Get a 2K out of his hand. And pass. This is KOable now, which is annoying for us a little bit, I guess. But we have another Cavendish. We have Cavendish. We have Aramaki. We're okay if he does try to KO this. It does mean that he leaves our Rebecca up, which is fine. If he doesn't, if he just bounces the Rebecca, then that's also fine. Okay, so he's trying to get a baby Ichiji. He just got it. Cool. That's not fun. We need to be able to bottom him. And currently, we don't really have the option to bottom him. We need to draw either an Ice Age, which would just perfectly synergize with the Aramaki to do that. Or we'd have to draw a Toy Soldier, which would also give us the synergy for it. But I don't know if he really read this card or what. So what are you doing? Okay, so he wants to kill the Cav. So we're okay with losing the Rebecca here. We kind of want to keep it, but it also depends on if he swings at Kyros or not. If he doesn't swing at Kyros, then we don't really care. Okay, drop out a Chopper. That's fine by me. Drop out a Reiju. Reiju to draw you a couple cards. Feel free. Yep, you can have the Cav. That's fine. If he just swings this at face, we take it. Yep, no, we got to protect it with the Rebecca because we need that for reduction. Well, that's really nice. We'll discard the Cav because the Luffy's going to offer us some stuff here. Attack 5. He does have another Reiju, but he also has another Ichiji, so that's not that big a deal. It doesn't really matter which we get rid of as long as we get rid of one. Okay, cool. He used a Chopper. That's all I give a crap about. That's fine by me. Does he have another? Well, I mean, he should have another way of getting a baby Ichiji if he doesn't already have one. There's the Judge. That's the option to get both. Does he have a Niji as well? He's a big Niji. So if he has a baby one to discard, nope. Big Ichiji to discard. What do you discard? Big Ichiji. Not a Chopper. What else is he discarding? Another. Oh, 2K. Okay. It's going to do a Reiju to get him 2 more cards and an Ichiji to be able to try to go for this, I guess. That's fine by me. We can actually answer some of this. Not well, per se, but we've already developed the Aramaki. How many Q-Zones are in trash? That kind of answers if we can answer this well. 2 are in trash, so we could draw 1, could have 1 in life. Decent chance of 1 being in life. Worst case scenario, we can drop a Luffy using this combo to get rid of some of this stuff. Oh, he's just going life. Sure, dude. So he's a 6, and this is a 7. So we block, and we give him a 2. Seems like a really weird play by him, but okay. constantly at 7 cards. Crazy effectiveness of this deck. I hate how many cards this deck can just consistently have. So the question here is, do we bottom deck the Reiju? How many Reijus? Nothing in trash. Just a lot of babies gone. I mean, Reiju gets rid of one of them. We then have an 11k swing. We can drop down a second one. That is an option, actually. We use this one, get rid of the chopper. Drop down a second one. All right, let's do this first, then. Damn, Gravity Blade would be really nice right now. For the chopper. Enter. I need a Gravity Blade, but I think we've milled them all. 1, 2, 3. Yep, we've milled all the Gravity Blades. We have not hit a single Gravity Blade. It's kind of unlucky. We hit 1 Ice Age. We milled 3 Gravity Blades. We milled 2 out of our Kuzans. If we hit a Kuzan on this next turn, or out of life here, and survive this turn with both Aramakis intact, we can do it. We can win. The chances are very low, but there is a chance. For those wondering how we do that, it would be counter 2k counter, 2k counter Kuzan. And then we counter out of whatever the last one is by blocking with the Aramakis. We resolve it. All right, 2k counter. All right, that's a Kuzan. That seems stupid. Does he have another Ichiji to go off of right now? Is that what he's off banking on? Wow, it was out of order, but I called it 2k 2k Kuzan. What's all this Dawn for? Okay, there's another one. You reduce one of them, and then I just block with the other one. With 1 2k counter. And then we KO the judge because he's bigger. Or we give you a 1k counter. Survival. We might have done it. Doubtful, but we might have done it. Most of his baby Ichiji's are in trash now. I mean, he's massive hand, so like it's not like it's that big. But his Reijus don't get him anything. They're just a board. They're just a body on board. He can go for game here, but if he does it wrong, like I'll sack one to here, and I have two 2Ks in hand, so I can keep the other alive. And then I have massive board swing the next turn without any Dawn investment. We just can go for it. And we just bottom two of his four Ichiji, big Ichijis. He has one on board. So he's cycling to find something. Got a Niji. That doesn't do any good for him right now. I mean, he can hard play a Niji if he wants. Doesn't do anything. We've already KO'd a Chopper, or let's see, he's got two Choppers in trash, I believe. One Chopper in trash. I must have bottom decked two of them. Or I bottom decked one of them at least. I don't remember if I bottomed one or two. Who are you bouncing? Or are you trying to KO him? If you bounce Orlumbus, I just get a counter out of that, and I'm okay with that. Didn't bounce anything. You don't want to bounce either of these? Reiju doesn't draw you anything. This just puts a blocker in my way that I can easily remove. And you gave up all of your Dawn. Like, what? Okay, so he didn't go for it, because he thinks he can win off of hand, I guess. Use one to get us anything that we can pitch, get rid of the blocker. Attack 10. Attack 11. Do you have the counter for it? Attack 11. Attack 11. And we win. Look at there, guys. We could beat a Reiju. Even with a kind of horrible fucking amount of bad mill. We got there. A little bit of a misplay by him in a couple turns, but a couple misplays by me as well. But I mean, if you have an average game, you can beat it, right? Like, and that's the thing, is that Ice Age did definitely help with the, if they have more of an average early turns. Like, I think in my last video we saw them have kind of an explosive turn. It might do better. Seeing as this matchup went really, really long, it's, this game went really long. We're only going to do this one game because it was such a long one. But I mean, this is, and I'm tired. So we've been doing this almost like 4 hours now. 4 or 5 hours of just grinding this stuff out. Overall, I think this matchup is very winnable. I think the Ice Ages help it become more winnable. And though because of that, I think that we have that being an okay matchup, not necessarily a great matchup, but it's okay. We have a really good matchup in Abani, who's the other top deck. Black Yellow Luffy, we have a great matchup into. He's one of the top decks. So the only, like, out of the top 4 or 5 decks, out of them, the only one that I'd say that we have a bad matchup into is Lucci. Nami is everybody's worst matchup, but also everybody's best matchup. It's really more on the Nami. Can the Nami player pilot it perfectly? And do they get enough RNG in their life? And if both of those things aren't true, then you have a chance. You have a pretty good chance of winning it. Same kind of thing goes for a lot of different matchups. But I would say that the hardest matchup we have now, the one that is dang near impossible to win, is Lucci. Oh yeah, Black starter deck Luffy. That's another matchup that I think is iffy. It's not unwinnable. But that's just because they don't have as much cost reduction. So as long as we can kill their cost reducers and force them to have to use Ice Ages on things that they don't want to have to use Ice Age on, in the cases of like Cavendish, Luffy's, and stuff like that, then we can stick a Kuzan and it actually becomes very difficult for them to deal with us. Plus, once we have a Kuzan on board, I don't care if he's giving a +1 to that to the Jack. A single or other cost reducer puts him in range of Gravity Blade, right? Like, so that's perfectly fine. Also, Jack is not nearly as menacing in that deck as it is in other decks, just due to the fact that if we can answer the rest of his board state, which is significantly easier to do than something like a Lucci, I think we can actually deal with him. It sounds like it should be harder because he gets a +1 on everything, and he swings harder, but the fact that he doesn't have as easy a time of removing our stuff does generally lend itself to us. More or less with this build more than anything, I think. I think in some of the other builds I tested, it wasn't as great, but it's not a matchup I've tested as much. But it is the anti-black deck, so like the exception would be that, you know, Black's worst matchup is Black. So in this case, that's going to be true here. But if we can make the rest of them good enough, I think that Rebecca is purely has contention because of the fact that she gets to run so many great cards. So, all right, guys. Hope you enjoy the video, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, guys.